Don't worry, you're not disturbing me. I'd much rather talk than write. But here I am, day after day, haunted by this one thought. I must write, I must write, I must write. What force is it that compels me to write so incessantly, day after day, page after page, story after story? Well, quite frankly, I have no choice. I am a writer. You know, before you guys came in here, I was thinking to myself, what if I just gave it up one day? What would I do instead? Well, I've never freely admitted this to anyone, but to you here in the theater tonight, I would like to tell you what I would most like to do with my life. Ever since I was a small child, I always just a minute. Make a note here. An idea occurred to me. Subject for a short story. Yes. It was my mentioning the theater that sparked me. What were we talking about before? Never mind, I am consumed by this new idea. See how this fancies you. It starts in the theater. It starts on opening night of a new season. It starts with those dear and devoted patrons of the arts who wave and greet each other in the grand salon, commenting on how this one looks and how that one is dressed, scarcely knowing what play they are about to see this evening. Except for one man, Ivan Ilyich Cherdakov. If Ivan Ilyich Cherdakov, a civil servant, a clerk in the Ministry of Public Parks, had any love at all in life, it was the theater. He certainly had ambitions and hopes for higher office, but he dedicated his life to hard work, zeal, and patience. But he could not resist buying 2 tickets in the very best section for opening night performance of Rostov's The Bearded Countess. As fortune would have it, into the theater that evening came his respected superior, Mikhail Brezhnev, the general of the Ministry of Public Parks himself.
Good evening, Chief. Good evening, General. Yes, good evening. Permit me, sir. I am Cherdakov. Ivan Ilyich. This is a great honor for me, sir. Yes. Like yourself, dear General, I too serve the Ministry of Public Parks. That means to say, I serve you, who is indeed himself the Minister of Public Parks. I am the Assistant Chief Clerk in the Department of Trees and Bushes.
Yes. Keep up the good work. Lovely trees and bushes this year.
My wife would very much like to say hello, General. This is she, my wife, Madame Cherdakov.
How do you do?
My pleasure.
My pleasure, General.
Madame Marcelo, this is my wife, Madame Cherdakov.
How do you do, Madame Marcelo? How do you do? I just had the pleasure of meeting your husband.
And I am my wife's husband. How do you do, Madame Marcelo?
Terribly sorry.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, if I can watch it.
Feeling quite pleased with himself for making the most of a golden opportunity, Ivan Ilyich Cherdakov sat back to enjoy The Bearded Countess. He was no longer a stranger to the Minister of Public Parks. They had become, if one wanted to be generous about the matter, familiar with each other. And then, quite suddenly, without warning, like a bolt from a gray thundering cloud, Ivan Ilyich Cherdakov reared back his head and...
Oh my goodness! I'm so terribly sorry. I'm so terribly sorry, Your Excellency. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Never mind. It's all right.
All right. It certainly is not all right. It's unpardonable. It was monstrous of me.
You make too much of the matter. Let it rest.
How can I let it rest? It was inexcusable. Permit me to wipe your neck, sir. It's the least that I can do.
Leave it be. It's all right, I say.
But I splattered you, sir. Your complete head is splattered. It was an accident, I assure you. came completely without warning. It was out of my nose before I could stifle it. Shh. Shh. Yes, sir. It's not cold, if that's what you're worrying about. Probably a particle of dust in the nose.
But Ivan Ilyich Chernikov could not put the incident out of his mind. The sneeze, no more than an innocent anatomical accident, grew out of all proportion in his mind until it resembled the angry roar of a cannon aimed squarely at the enemy camp. He played back the incident in his mind, slowing the procedure down so he could view again in horror the infamous deed.
Charming.
Yes, charming.
Did you find it charming, my dear?
Utterly charming.
I was definitely charmed by it.
Excuse me, Excellency.
Tapping. What's that tapping?
I'm tapping, sir. I'm the tapper. I'm Chernikov.
Stan McBeard, it's the sneezer.
No. I'm completely sneezed out. If that's what you're worrying about, I'm just concerned about you going out into the night air with a damp head.
Was a trifle, mere faux pas. Amusing play, don't you think? Did you find it amusing?
Oh my goodness. So true. I haven't laughed so much in years.
What part interested you the most?
The sneeze? When I sneezed on you, it was unforgivable, sir.
Forget it, young man. Come, my dear. Looks like rain. I wouldn't want to get my head wet again.
You shouldn't be sneezed at. You shouldn't let someone sneeze at you, dear.
I'm ruined. Ruined. He'll have me fired from branches and twigs. They'll send me down to branches and twigs.
Come, Ivan.
What?
You mustn't let it concern you. It was just a harmless little sneeze. The generals probably forgot it already.
Do you really think so?
No, Ivan, I'm scared.
And so they walked home in despair.
Maybe perhaps if I should send him a nice gift, maybe some Turkish towels.
Chernikov's once promising career had literally been blown away.
Why did this happen to me? Why did I go to the theater at all? Why didn't I sit down in the balcony with people of our own class? They love sneezing on each other.
Come to bed, Ivan.
Perhaps if I call him again in the morning and explain to him the matters again, but in such honest, self-effacing, and charming manner, perhaps he'll have no choice but to forgive me.
Maybe it's best not to remind him, Ivan.
No. If ever I expect to become a gentleman, I should behave like one.
And so the morning came. It so happened that this was the day the general listened to petitions. And since there were 50 or 60 petitions ahead of Chernikov, he waited from morning till late afternoon.
Denied. Next. Next.
I'm not next, Your Excellency. I'm last.
Very well then. Last.
That's me, sir. Sir.
Well, what is your petition?
I have no petition, sir. I am not a petitioner.
Then you waste my time.
Don't you recognize me, sir? We met last night under rather explosive circumstances. I'm the splatterer.
The what?
The sneezer. The one who sneezed. The sneezing splatterer.
Indeed. And what is it you want now? A gesundheit?
No, Your Excellency. your forgiveness. I just wanted to point out that there was no political or anti-social motivation behind that sneeze. It was a non-partisan, non-violent act of God. I curse the day the protuberance formed on my nose. It's a hateful nose, sir, and I am not responsible for its indiscretions. Punish that which committed that crime, but absolve the innocent body behind it. Forgive me, Lord. Exile my nose, but forgive me your kindship. Forgive me.
My dear young man, I'm not angry with your nose. I'm too busy to have time for your nasal problems. Now I suggest you go home and take a hot bath, or a cold one. Just take something. Don't bother me with this silly business again. Gibber, gibber, gibber. That's all I've heard all day. Gibber, gibber, gibber.
Thank you, sir. God bless you and your wife and your household. May your days be sweet and may your nights be better than all your days.
The feeling of relief that came over Chekhov was enormous.
May the birds sing in the morning at your window, and may the coffee in your cup be strong and hot.
The relief, the weight of the burden that was lifted was inestimable.
I worship the chair that you sit on, and the uniform you wear, and the chair that I worship.
He walked home, whistling and singing like a lark. Life was surely a marvel, a joy, a heavenly paradise.
Oh God, I'm happy.
And yet, when he arrived home, he began to think.
Have I been a part of a cruel and thoughtless Jew?
Had the minister toyed with him?
If he had no intentions of punishing me, then why did he torment me so unmercifully?
If the sneeze meant so little to the minister, why did he deliberately cause Chekhov to writhe in his bed?
To twist in agony the entire night.
Chekhov was
I
furious.
am furious.
He foamed and fumed and paced the night through. In the morning, called out to his wife, Sonia!
Sonia! I have been humiliated.
You, Ivan, who would humiliate you? You're such a kind and generous person.
Who? I'll tell you who. General Brassilov, the Minister of Public Parks. Swine. He humiliated me in such subtle fashion, it was almost indiscernible. His cunning is only equal to his cruelty. He practically forced me to come to his office to grovel and beg on my knees. I was reduced to a gibbering idiot.
Was that reduced?
I must go back and tell him what I think of him. The lower classes must be covered. The world must be made safe, so that people of all nations and creeds, regardless of race or religion, must be free to sneeze on their superiors. It is he who will be humiliated by I.
And so, Chekhov came to humiliate he.
Shave next time. Denied.
3 razors.
Last.
Well, you ask. Don't you recognize me, Your Excellency? Look at my face. Familiar? Yes, you're quite correct. It is I once again.
It is you once again who?
Chekhov, Your Excellency. I have returned, having taken neither a hot bath nor a cold one.
Who let this filthy man in? What is it?
What is it? You ask me, what is it? You sit there behind your desk and ask me, what is it? You sit there in your lofty position as General and Minister of Public Parks, a member of high standing in the upper class, and ask me, a lowly civil servant, what is it? You sit there knowing full well that there is circumstances that cause some of us, that there are those of us who bow down and that are bowed down to, that there are those of us who serve and that are served, Those of us who obey and that are obeying, and that in this life there are circumstances that cause us to be humiliated, and those that are the cause of that humiliation. And still you ask, what is it?
What is it? Don't just stand there gibbering like an idiot. What is it you want?
I'll tell you what I want! I just wanted to ask forgiveness for the sneeze. I wasn't made sure that I made it clear, Your Excellency. It was an accident, I assure.
Out! You fool! You imbecile! Get out of my sight! I never want to see you again. If you ever cross my line of vision, I'll have you exiled forever! What's your name?
Chekhov!
You germ spreader! You maggot! You're an insect! No. You're lower than an insect! You're the second cousin to a cockroach! The nephew of a ringworm! You're the son-in-law of a bedbug! You're nothing! Nothing, you hear me? Nothing!
In that moment, something broke loose inside Chekhov. Something so deep and vital, so organic that the damage that was done seemed irreparable. Something drained within him that can only be described as the very life force itself. The matter was over, done, for once, for all, forever. What happened next was quite simple. Ivan Ilyich Chekhov came home, took off his coat, lay down on the bed, and died. Wait! For those of you who are offended by life's cruelty, there is an alternate ending. Ivan Ilyich Chekhov came home, removed his coat, lay down on the bed, and inherited 5 million rubles! Oh, there's not much point to it, but it is uplifting, huh?